Are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Tool to Play presents Still Got Game with Derek D. Smooth Nolan and Joel Duda Rock Albert.
This episode of Still Got Games brought to you by ThinkGeek and the Craft Beer Club. Hey now! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Still Got Game, episode 339. Still Got Games, the official podcast of ToolToPlay.com. I am, as always, Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
And I am Joel Duda Rock Albert.
And joining us later from the news desk will be Tiffany Electrify Nolan. So, we're back, Jay. What's going on?
We're back for one more week, and then we're no longer back for another week, but then we come back with a giant...
Yeah, we have a good reason next week, because Tiff and I will be gone in LA for E3, so there will be no show next week. But we will come back with the supersized E3 wrap-up roundtable craziness episode. So, yes. So, we were off last week because Hit had a holiday that Jay and I were pretty sure was made up, but it was a real holiday, as we discussed. Actually, the 30 minutes of the after show was Jay.
Like Hit, you said you didn't listen to the show. It's really all about you and your country for like 30 minutes straight, where we just go on and on and on and on.
Yeah, the entire after show. It's full of facts and tidbits that you may be able to break out at Queen Victoria Day parties, because Jay really dug deep and pulled these things out. So, yeah, definitely listen to last week's show, because that last half hour in the outtakes is...
it's a history lesson.
Yeah,
it's a history lesson.
It's seriously...
If you want to know.
Yeah. It's stuff that you don't even know, Hit. We went beyond,
definitely you don't know this.
We went beyond our knowledge as Americans, and now we are worldly.
Yes.
We're global travelers. So.
One half of the globe,
Yes, yeah. That's what we do. All right, well, why don't we we'll hop in the show proper, and we'll start off with feedback from last week's show. Remember, if you want to leave us a voicemail, it will cut you off after a minute. Tasha comments, on your last episode, you asked me what the 5 gaming podcasts I listen to are. They are Still Got Game, The Indoor Kids, The Giant Bombcast, The CADcast, and DLC. You are still the most fun. So I feel better now that I know what she listens to. Because The Indoor Kids is pretty good. That's got the kid from
it sounded
Silicon Valley.
That's who's on it. Okay.
It's
I was just looking it up. The Indian guy?
Yeah, the Indian guy from Silicon Valley and his girlfriend or wife or whatever. They do The Indoor Kids. Giant Bombcast, obviously the Giant Bomb guys. CADcast, we know those guys. Dave Abrams, Stewie Knack, and Shipwreck. DLC, that's not what I'm
I don't know that one either.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
But
DLC podcast.
Are you looking up real time?
Yeah, now I'm like trying to.
We're on the air.
See, like,
that's
what?
Cool.
Whatever. You're talking. I can look.
I know.
Weekly audio tour of the latest in video games and tabletop entertainment.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know who any of these people are, but apparently they have a show.
That's
128 episodes.
That's probably what they're saying.
That's
about
what.
us.
Yeah, they find out about us. They're like, who are these idiots? And why do they have so many episodes? How long has it been doing this?
But yes, and for those of you that didn't listen to last week's show, like Hit, her comment from last week was, I just recently discovered your show on iTunes and have quickly become a fan. I listen to 5 gaming podcasts each week, and yours seems to be the most fun. And Jay called her out and said, why don't you tell us what those 5 are? So that's how we ended up in this position right now, mentioning 4 other podcasts, which is kind of advertising for other people. But
Jeff Kanata's in this podcast. I know Jeff Kanata.
Oh, really? In DLC?
Yeah, he's the other guy. I didn't know who the first guy was.
Okay.
Christian Spicer.
Oh, Spicer, yeah.
Oh, you know him?
I know him, yeah.
Oh, perfect. And we combined to form a full 100% knowledge of who these people are.
Yeah, we met Spicer at a Packers party before.
Oh, really?
Yes. He made a good impression on you, obviously, but yes.
Oh, I met him?
Yeah, you met him first. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes. So
love it.
So I guess we are in
you hung out for hours, you talked.
You guys probably gave yourself a handy to each other, whatever.
Yeah,
it was a party, though, so you don't remember names. It's cool.
No.
But yeah, so that's good. So thank you for filling us in, Tasha. And this is probably one of the only 2 times in history where we've asked someone a follow-up on their question and they actually gave us the information.
Yeah, it's really rare.
Because most people blow us off.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Much appreciated. All right, Earfloss comments. Watch the YouTube version of episode 338 last week. Your episode numbers were all over the map. When you guys were on camera by yourselves, it said episode 337. And when you were together, it said episode 290. I just want you guys to know, love the show. So we are glad that you love the show, but we said this at the beginning of the episode. We literally said the episode numbers are all fucked up. So unless you missed the very beginning of the show, or you started it and then put on your headset, or however this happened, we definitely commented on this, but we appreciate you looking out for us, Ear Floss.
Yes, Ear Floss, aka Derek Nolan.
Oh my God. All right. Last but not least, Crazy Beaver comments. Still got game, keeps getting better, and I've been with you since Tool to Type Radio. Thanks for all the years of entertainment. How
many years has this been?
We're in our 10th year. See, now I'm going to have to be the guy that pulls something up while we're doing the show. So we will try to not
It's been a really long time. We can say that, right?
Yeah,
it's been about a decade.
So the very first episode ever of Tool to Type Radio was in May 30th, 2005. So we are in our 11th year.
Jesus.
Now, granted, there was a 1.5 hiatus when Jay got lazy.
That's true.
But
that's true.
Technically, the show's been around for 11 years. So kudos to us. We're fucking badasses.
I'm sorry, guys.
So since I brought it back, we're into 10 years. So that's just about 10 years. So
almost,
That's crazy.
Wow.
10 years of nonstop episodes. And if you remember, everyone that's a big fans, longtime fans, for episode 300, we brought back Code Monkey for a special group episode. So who knows when we get
That's right. I'm kind of bummed that we missed our decade episode.
Yeah, we should have been.
We said May, right? Because it's so we technically had our.
Yeah, we already had our birthday. Yes. So we will have to celebrate on episode. Maybe we'll celebrate on 50s for now on, so we can have more celebrations. Do a 350, a 400. That way, because it takes a while. It takes 2 years to get everything.
I was gonna say, it's not like we do this every week. So there's a
if you don't miss it, it takes 2 years to get the 100. So yes, so we'll start celebrating on the 50s. So in 11 episodes, we'll do some kind of festive celebration. So.
Sure.
All right. Well, if any of you awesome feedback like that, give us a call, 773-527-2961, or email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. And in site-related news, none of us have anything. We're all super busy, getting ready for E3. Jay's getting ready to get married. We don't have time to work on the site. It's just, it milks itself. It's basically static at this point. Yes.
Very, very true.
So I guess we'll hop over into what we're playing. Joel Dude I Rock Albert, what have you been playing this week?
Overwatch. So I pretty much only play Overwatch now. I'm out of the division, but I dabble once or twice a week in it. I do some DZ stuff and hang out. Still excited to see what they come up with next week. Obviously, they're going to be announcing their first real expansion, the full-on game expansion. It's, I think, slated for end of June, which is pretty impressive.
Nice.
So I am excited about that. But Overwatch has been – it was a game, if you guys have been listening – it was a game where I've been pretty wishy-washy. I have stated several times that I always thought it was a good game, but didn't think I'd be interested. All those times I played the beta, I was, essentially playing alone, doing my thing, trying to see if I enjoyed the game, and I didn't as much. But ever since I've been playing with the Tool to Play folks and LB and a couple of the other guys from Tool to Play, I've had an amazingly fun time. So nice. I've been putting in some nights I'll do almost, which is really rare for me for any game. I'll do 5 hours straight of gaming. Last weekend I did an almost 5-hour session of gaming, which for me is years ago I would do that, but not
since the Halo 2 days.
Yeah. Especially for an FPS. It's very easy to do that in an RPG related game or an MMO because you literally, your brain doesn't know what time it is. You turn around and you're it's been 3 days. I have no pants on. Why are there Cheetos on my chin?
Carrot's dangling.
Yeah, you don't know. Yeah. But an FPS, it's marked by starts and ends, and you can say, I've played 25 games. This has obviously been a long time, but I didn't even notice the passage of time. So they've done a really good job of blending not really RPG elements because, again, everything's happening in that context of the game, but it doesn't extend outside the game, which is an interesting thing.
Which is nice.
But in the game, you have that sort of feeling of, it's still kind of class-based, obviously. There's tanks, healers, DPS, support, builders. So within that, 20-minute game, that's the very high end of how long the game would take, 5 to 20. Yep. It's interesting. I mean, there's a lot you can do. So I've been having a good time with it. Yeah.
Nice.
What about you?
Well, it's been a busy week. We've been catching up on some TV shows. So I only did my one raid night in Destiny, and I think I played 1 or 2 games of Overwatch other than that. But yeah, it was a lot of TV catch up and a lot of This has just been crazy with having kids in the end of the school year. There's fucking shit all the time now. So hopefully after E3 next week, things open up and I'll be able to unleash a little more gaming time. But yeah.
Well, what is it, Thursday? I think that they're doing
their big announcement.
Yeah. So I am super psyched for that. I still to this day, again, I think the rating in Destiny is so great.
That's so fun.
So I really pray that it's not like a froofy announcement where they're like, yeah, and then there's a raid maybe thing. I would love to hear about the raid specifically, about maybe a little. I'm hoping it's a meaty.
Yeah, give us the deets. Give us the deets.
But it would still be weird to me that they do this so close to E3. I understand why they're doing it, but I would think the reveal would come at E3. So this is kind of surprising.
Well, they probably would have done it at E3 if Activision had something going on there, and the fact that they don't, they have to share that Sony stage with everybody else.
Yeah, they have a limited amount of time.
Yep,
that's true. It gives them a plot, but even still, I would think the announcement comes and then this
follow it up.
Just and again, this is the eliteness in me. I'm not even going to E3 this year, but I always feel like E3 should be, that's where the announcement should come. And
exactly.
All got on a plane or train or an automobile to get out there, and they sort of deserve a little bit of the freshness before everybody else.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
Yeah,
call us snobs.
It's so shitty to say, but I'm not going, so I would suffer for it.
I'm going, and I wish that there was more exclusive stuff for me.
So. Yeah, totally. I mean, it's just it's a lot.
That's what you deserve.
It's a lot to go to these events.
Yeah.
This is one thing. It's a pain in the fucking ass. So you want to be rewarded in some way.
Exactly.
But that's my hope, is that they'll have it. I think the reward will be that you will have it playable there on the floor. And if that's the case, I think that's totally worth it. If you get a chance to run. I'm assuming that's the case. I think it would be insane to not do that. But,
all right. We will see soon enough. It's only a few days away.
Yeah. Good stuff.
All right. Well, on that, why don't we hop on over to the new releases? It's a super light week of new releases out this week. So the first new release out this week is a multi-platform release, and it's Mirror's Edge Catalyst. And this is out for the Xbox One, the PS4, and the PC. This is the long-awaited reboot to 2008's hit Mirror's Edge, obviously. This time around, the game focuses on Faith's backstory. The game mechanics and parkour are similar to its predecessors, but instead of having distinct levels this time around, it's basically an open-world scenario, and the missions can be done in kind of any order, and it's not as on rails as the previous ones. And actually, they've claimed that you won't actually notice any loading screens in the game. From the moment the game starts and you get the opening menu to wherever you go, there should be no loading screens at all. The game looks amazing. The beta was a blast. I loved it. There's no early review scores out yet, but I expect this to do pretty well. The predecessor did, the original Mirror's Edge was like mid eights, and they've had time to improve on that and take the one thing people didn't like was the linear levels and everything else. So if they can fix that and make the parkour mechanics better, this is going to be in the 9s, I would assume.
I think it's funny because I think this is a nostalgia-driven review. So any game like this that people have been clamoring for years and years, it's one of these things that you see it on all these game review sites where you're going to have to assume 1 point to 2 points higher than if this game was new and no one knew about it, because the nostalgia of the review is automatically going to kick into gear. And you're probably going to see 9s or maybe even 10s, assuming they don't do anything terribly wrong. But it's something you notice, when a game like this is like long awaited and finally comes out. And it's like Diablo, right? Like when Diablo was first reviewed, it actually was extreme. It reviewed very high. And then gamers got their hands on it, and everything was broken about it. Eventually, I think it went back to that level, at least in my mind, because it became a much better game. But just people were freaking out about Diablo, and they gave it like 9s right away. So.
Yeah, but they kept patching Diablo, and it kept getting better and better.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is it eventually, like I said, lived up to, I think, that number. But yeah, Mirror's Edge, man, I'm gonna buy this game, which I don't tend to do, but I'm one of those fanboys. I'm going to wait for the reviews. I know I'm going to have to deal with probably an overinflated number in the beginning. I'm going to wait for the player reviews, the only ones I actually care about. But we'll see. I was always a huge fan of it. I loved it, even with the linear gameplay back in the day. Played lots of hours of it. So I'm definitely going to pick it up. It's a question of when.
Nice.
So I'm going to wait a little bit. My new thing now as a gamer
is you can actually wait. Yeah,
I can wait. Doesn't bother me to wait 2 more weeks, 3 more weeks. Doesn't matter. So.
No, I liked the first one. Tiff thought she was going to like it, and because she never played the first one, then she played the beta, and the the parkour style was not her cup of tea.
Oh, really? I mean, yeah.
No, she liked it. She just couldn't really. It wasn't her gameplay style. So, and it's
You're
not
saying she sucked at parkour.
Well, she's not the only one. Like I talked to my brother Brett, who thought he was going to love it too, and he actually got stuck at the same spot in the beta as Tiff did, and had to redo the same one little part like 20 or 30 times. Yes, trying to get out of this certain room. So
yeah, that'll do it. I mean, that's the other thing too. If a game frustrates me for more than like 30 minutes, that's it. The game's over. I'm like, all right, well, fuck this game. Moving on.
So, all right, well, we'll see what happens with the user review scores. And the other new game out this week is out for the Oculus Rift, and it's Edge of Nowhere. This is Insomniac Games' first AAA entry into the VR game space. It's a third-person. Yeah, I said third, even though it's a Oculus Rift game. Third-person survival horror action venture game set in Antarctica. You play as Victor Howard, an explorer who is slowly losing his mind over the period of the game, which is where the horror stuff kind of comes in. There's no early review scores out for this yet, but the game looks fantastic, and it seems to be one of the few games that pulls off this third person while being in a VR headset type of game. So you're basically using the headset to pan the universe, and you're using the controller to move your guy within that universe. So if you think about it that way, you can kind of wrap your mind around it a little bit more. So like you see your third person guy and you're like, well, I want to, and all you see is what's in front of you. But if you turn your head to the right, now you see this whole new landscape over there, and you can kind of move him over there and deal with that. So yeah, from the word of mouth on this, it's supposedly pretty amazing, but like I said, no review scores out yet.
Yeah, recently read a Kotaku review, I think, of this. Probably it was yesterday. It was really recently. And I guess it's really, really short. It's like 3 hours or something. It's not good. Especially for a game that's the point, right? Like there's no multiplayer thing.
No. Yeah.
But the review overall was still very good. It was like the experience of the game lent itself very well, obviously, to the medium of using the VR and how that all played. And all of that was good, which is the stuff I think you really probably should care about because it's specifically a VR game.
Yep.
And how it feels in VR is important. So I think from that aspect, it scored fairly well. I don't think Kotaku uses actual scores. They just say,
they just say what they like.
What I prefer. But that it was just, I think it was like 3.5 hours, maybe 3 hours, something along that lines.
But if that's what you're buying for your experience,
right. Plus it's a movie experience in a way.
Plus the VR experience is not something that's going to be, you're not going to sit in front of VR for right. 90 hours. Like
that's true.
These are going to be a different size, digestible amount of content, and you can't sit with those VR goggles on for 90 hours. You're looking for experiences that are get in, get out, quit fucking about, yo-ho, yo-ho, yo-ho.
It's very true. It's Selden saying, for the 0.5% of people that actually own an Oculus Rift. I would love to know exactly
so many
how
people
many. I know, me too. Ironically, I know I can think of almost 6 people off the top of my head that actually own an Oculus Rift. And I will be one of them too. So, or the Vive. Depends on which day I pretend to order and then cancel my order, which has happened.
Once I get a new PC, that's going to be the next thing on the.
Let me ask you that. So, are you Vive or are you Oculus?
I'm going to be a Vive guy.
You are going to be a Vive.
Yeah, I like that VR in a space thing.
Yeah, you like having
because the Vive does what the Oculus does. Plus, it has that VR in a space, so you can do the things where it knows the size of your play space, and you can move around and walk around in your play space and interact with things. So it opens up a whole nother level of games.
Now, you read about Palmer Luckey, how he said, Oculus actually already does that out of the box. And once we deliver the handsets, it'll have that space. Well, but it's an interesting conversation just because part of what he says from that perspective of Oculus is we can do that. And they demoed it and it worked perfectly well, but that they just don't want their developers and people building on it to actually do that. They feel like the idea of walking around is so limited to someone's area that it's not worth spending the developer hours to build that game because not that many people will be able to actually dedicate a whole room to that. What do you think about that?
I don't know.
It's interesting. It's an interesting argument.
Obviously, he would need another sensor too because
you get one.
So you get a second
two sensors.
No, because the Oculus only comes with one. The Vive comes with 2.
No. So that's the point. There are 2 sensors with the Oculus Rift when you get the controllers. So
okay,
that
so a second
feature
one comes
will
with
automatically be unlocked when you buy the the controllers. So, but he, like, having said that, he doesn't feel as though developers should even be putting their time into that.
So we're
because you're in a niche market. Let's say Selden's right, 0.5%, which is probably not true.
And you're already splitting.
Then you're
splitting
niching
it again.
Niche.
Yes, yeah.
Right. So I don't know. That's what right now. And the only reason I'm like having this conversation with you is because I'm on that. I'm questioning whether the Vive then is worth it because it's more money, obviously. Yeah. And I'm like, well, am I ever going to stand up in my room and do all that? I don't know.
Yeah, my guess is if I had 5 VR games, maybe one would involve that. So you start multiplying that out. Now you have 20 games. That's 4. So maybe it's not worth that extra couple $100. But yeah, I just don't know.
I'm just looking for. I've been talking to a bunch of people. I got a friend of mine who has an Oculus. I have a friend of mine who has a Vive. They all have their like pros and cons, and the biggest pro for Oculus seems to be because they have better games. So.
Yeah, but then we learned 2 weeks ago that there's a way around that from our hacker buddies. Yes,
you can cheat or not cheat, circumvent.
So, well, next week, hopefully, I'm going to run to my boy Jason Evangelo from. He writes for Forbes. He does all the VR content for everybody, and he's got everything. And I want to pick his brain for a little bit and see what he actually thinks because he has them all. And that's all he does. He's the VR editor for Forbes and for 2 other magazines online. And
it's exciting that position exists.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's a VR editor.
Yep. Yeah.
And that just happened in like 3 years.
I know. Like you need someone to cover all VR.
Position. Now there's a ton of VR. So yeah, it's exciting. I still cannot fucking decide though. So I'm just looking for that, like whatever nudge. If there was a killer game, that would be my instant decision. I wouldn't care either way.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the killer game yet. So that's what's going to take.
And there's always still the rumors that somehow the Rift is going to work with the Xbox.
And that's the other thing.
And that's
the new Xbox that comes out will be powerful enough to power the Oculus, which is what everyone is saying. And if that's the case, then it's like
the Rift is a no-brainer.
Because if I have a Vive and then that comes out, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yes. So that's the nice part about waiting here. But I'm still waiting for the new 1080 mobile processors.
Right.
What's going to happen with those? And I'll decide what I'm going to pick up because I always need a laptop. I don't mind
the desktop.
I don't mind gaming on a laptop because I need to be able to take it with me. I don't want to.
Do you take it with you? I mean, is it like something that you?
Yeah, I take my laptop everywhere. So. And I can sacrifice a little bit of performance. Hell, when this 1080 whatever comes in a laptop form, it's better than your
It'll be better than your last gen Titan. Well, not the Titan, not the mobile version. No. But it'll come near that 960. It'll be near there.
No. The mobile version is going to be better than the Titan.
No, the desktop version, the low quality 1070 is better than the Titan currently, but the mobile version.
I don't know.
On a dual display, it'll probably compare because that's the biggest part is that it's able to display on multiple displays without losing any fidelity or FPS, which is quite amazing because I have 2 monitors here and I totally would get a third monitor and I will get a third monitor once I get my 1080 in because I'm a weirdo. Like if I can do like 4 monitors and do a quad stack, I would fucking do it. My only limitation is the Titan I have. I have the highest version that you can get now. But it still can't do like 4 monitors.
No.
So that to me is going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah. So that'll be my buying in point. So once we see what's going on with mobiles, and then I'll make my decision. But all right. Well, on that, why don't we hop on over to gaming news? And we'll head over to Tiff. What's going on, Tiff?
Hey guys, not much. Just hanging out.
Just
chilling.
Just waiting for news.
Yep, just trying to think of all my outfits I'm going to pack for E3 and all the shit we're going to do and our appointments and.
No.
Shut up.
Jay, we are going to miss you. Like,
yeah, we are going to miss you.
We actually talk about this all the time. That as psyched as I am for E3, like part of going to E3 is the 3 amigos, and it's not going to be quite the same without you.
Yeah, we were just talking about what was the name of that device that you wore?
Oh, the Core FX that chest plate,
the jacket, the vest thing.
You in the chest.
That hits you when you played it.
Yeah, we're talking about some of our worst
I love
things.
The stupid shit. That's the thing about E3 is the dark dungeons of E3 with like the dumbest fucking gadgets ever. You have to try those things, and those create the most memories. Games
but they're still around.
Yeah, they're still around. Yeah, they're not doing badly, I assume, just because they're still around.
They're still around. That's
someone is buying them somewhere and loving every minute of it.
Yeah. I know no one with the core effects, but I saw them tweet out 3 tweets tonight about their
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
So, yeah, but we will miss you there. All right, Tiff. Why don't you hit us up with the first story?
All right. Well, this is a long one, and there's lots of numbers in here, so I apologize in advance for any butchering that may occur. Mad Catz loses $11 million on Rock Band 4 bet, and this comes from GameSpot. Mad Catz hasn't had a very good year, as its shares plummeted and executives left. Central to this problem was Harmonix's Rock Band 4, which Mad Catz helped co-publish. The hardware peripheral company took a downturn of 345%, going from a $4.7 million profit the previous year to an $11.6 million loss in fiscal 2016. Mad Catz co-publishing deal with Harmonix was signed at the start of fiscal 2016. Shortly after, Mad Catz failed to meet the terms of one of its creditors, Wells Fargo, when its yearly earnings didn't reach expectations. Its future was in question, though CFO Karen McGinnis said that it was anticipating significant sales and gross profit from Rock Band 4. Harmonix invested a lot of money into making Rock Band 4's hardware, raising $15 million in equity funding a month before its launch in October. The peripheral company didn't get the payoff it was hoping for, however. It got hit by a $6.8 million loss. Several executives decided to leave, including the CEO, when things didn't pick up. Shortly after that, Mad Catz laid off 37% of its workforce, which is expected to save the company an estimated $5 million a year. About a month later, Harmonix dropped Mad Catz for its competitor PDP. The move was likely made because of Mad Catz financial struggles. GamesIndustry.biz reports that the company still has $8.3 million of Rock Band inventory that it needs to sell before September 6th. McGinnis said that if the deal wasn't terminated, then Mad Catz would have to invest additional development resources and tooling to design new hardware. Although the overall Rock Band 4 program was incredibly disappointing for us, exiting the relationship with Harmonix at this time allows us to focus our efforts on the development and execution of our other exciting and profitable product launches, she added. However, the rock and roll rhythm game continues onward. Harmonix recently teased plans for a new bass guitar peripheral, and it signed a new licensing deal with Fender that's good until 2027. Wow. So there's a lot going on here, guys. Like, what do you think of all this?
Mad Catz fucked up.
Yeah, well, it's weird, right? I mean, like, they're blaming... So, clearly, Harmonix is still invested in this as a thing. And I would say, clearly, they're selling enough product to warrant having new peripherals being created. Yep. So, is it then really their fault? Or do they just put way too many eggs in one basket and they thought this thing's going to take off like fucking gangbusters? And they ended up with a shit ton of inventory because it's not how it used to be. And I don't know why they ever projected it would be. Yeah. It was a fad style genre that was great for a while, but I never in a million years thought this was going to do well or amazing, I should say, to the level of success that it was.
Well, maybe
so it just seems like poor planning to me, really.
Maybe if Mad Catz had just done the actual peripherals, it would have been one thing, but Mad Catz also was bought into the publishing of Rock Band 4.
Right, that's a lot of money and expenses to take on.
Yeah, so now you've got both ends of the spectrum. Your physical media, you got everything else, and somewhere in there, Tiff read that they have $8.3 million worth of inventory they have to sell before September. That means they built those band-in-a-box kits, and I'll tell you, as someone that has Rock Band 4 and likes it, that's probably part of their problem was how they marketed this. So you could buy single guitars or you could buy everything as a band in a box. So if you were someone that already had microphones, already had a guitar, you couldn't just go out and buy the drum set. Like if all you wanted was the new drums, you couldn't get them. You had to buy the band in the box that came with the game and all of the instruments. And that's not the best way to sell this out to people. It's just not. Like they should have changed this up. They should have sold the peripherals separately. And then they could have dealt with their inventory and fixed this up, but you know they fucked it up.
Yeah, again, it seems like they're trying to blame Harmonix, but I don't really see this as their fault. I mean, they totally overestimated by a large margin of what consumers were actually going to do. I'm surprised by that. I never saw any indication that in the future doing this again would ever have any bit of the success that it once had. It's a Wii style type of platform where
the Wii was popular
great when it came out, but it'll never be like that again, ever. because it was something new and something different, and it's no longer something new and it's no longer something different. So it's a bummer, and it's a weird thing to think that Mad Catz could like potentially go out of business. It's a strange thing. I don't think that's the case, considering they laid off so many people. Now they're probably
they made up for it.
They made up for
by
it
screwing people
the
up.
cost of people's lives.
Yes.
But certainly it's going to hurt them deeply. I mean, they were banking on this really making Mad Catz not only a hardware company, but a company that actually did production, right, and actually distributed games. That was an amazing thing for them. Yeah.
Although the thing that came out of this story that I didn't know was that PDP is now making the Rockman stuff, because PDP makes good stuff, and I'm curious to see. I'll bet you this base that they're talking about is going to be out of PvP's hardware.
Well, that's interesting too. Again, Harmonix is like still clearly looking for a manufacturer. So even this deal that ended, no reason really indicating why they couldn't work with Harmonix again. There was right. I mean, like they just seem to do poor business planning on this deal. So it's a bummer.
Yeah. Their deal obviously was, we either cut bait now and take the loss, or we have to sell all this shit and make new stuff. So they said, okay, we'll just cut bait and run. And it is what it is. But Harmonix is obviously pushing forward. So hopefully the Rock Band 4 train keeps rolling. All right, next story.
Overwatch surpasses 7 million players in just over a week, and this comes from Gamasutra. Built from the ashes of Blizzard's canceled Titan project, the company's team-based online FPS Overwatch has now attracted over 7 million players worldwide in the week following its May 24th launch. It's a bit interesting that Blizzard is choosing to crow about the number of people playing Overwatch rather than the number of copies sold. Presumably, the vast majority of those millions of players bought a copy of the game, which costs anywhere from $40 to $130 for either home, console, or PC, since no piece of it has been freely accessible since the close of the game's final beta test. In fact, some may well have bought more than one copy in order to play with friends on different platforms. So, what do you guys think of this? Is this big news? What are your thoughts? Like, why are they talking about the number of players, though, and not, the numbers of copies sold or how much they made?
Blizzard always plays it close to the chest.
They're no longer doing that. Yeah, the big thing at Blizzard now, and this is coming from World of Warcraft, I think it's 2 years ago, right, where they stated this. They don't give up copies sold anymore. They don't care about the number. Because for them, and a lot of people think it's like shady that they don't, but the reality for Blizzard is now really how many people are using their services, whether it's World of Warcraft or Hearthstone or whatever. Diablo, whatever, who lives in the ecosystem. And those numbers are what they really like to tout now. And there's probably some reasons for that as well. But I mean, that to them is the big number. So, I mean, you can still extrapolate close to what you think they potentially sold with this. But the cool part about it is that, again, for the simplicity of what Overwatch is, the number to me is extremely impressive. It is a very, very simple game. It's been a long time since we've seen a game where there's a story, right? But it's not a part of the game. Yeah. There's a background, but it's not a part of the game. And really, it's just a shooter. It's like if they were to release Halo and you just had multiplayer, and even I would argue a more stripped down version of that. And it's still sold millions and millions of copies.
Yeah. And your leveling doesn't matter. What your level is insignificant to the overall game. And
yeah, that bucks the trend of pretty much everything we've seen out of FPSs in the last 6 years. To me, that is what's so impressive about Blizzard as a company, but more so what's so impressive about Overwatch. It's a game that really shouldn't succeed if you were to write down on paper what is the key, what is the glue that holds a current modern FPS together. It doesn't do any of that. So it's strange in that sense. And again, shooters-wise, cartoon cell shading, this way of doing FPSs, not really something that sells anymore. People want the gray, dark, shoot 'em Warzone piece of shit games that we see regurgitated every goddamn fucking month. So it's a huge departure. It's colorful. It's playful. It's accessible, which is what Blizzard does very, very well. Pretty much any audience that plays video games can pick this up and enjoy it. So it is different in almost every way, but yet maintains the core FPS that I think people love in Team Fortress 2 and all these other games that we grew up playing before this wave of Call of Duty shit hit us.
Yep.
So it's like a throwback, but somehow also maintains
seems
this
new.
new flavor.
Yes, it's old but new.
Yeah.
It's
very strange
familiar
game.
but fresh. Yep.
And that's what Blizzard does, right? They take every game that anyone's ever loved, they wait for it to not be popular, they steal 90% of what you're playing, they've stolen from someone else's work, and then they polish the shit out of it for like 2 years straight. And then they give it to you. And you're like, holy shit, this is exactly what I didn't know that I wanted.
Oh, and also, like even this article mentioned, they were working on Titan, their new MMO, forever. And then when they finally scrapped it, they had all these characters fleshed out. And they're like, oh, well, you know what? Let's make a first-person shooter. And let's not do what anyone else is doing. And let's take all these cool characters we built for our Titan MMO, and we'll just make them characters in the shooter and give them all different classes and characteristics. And talk about not wasting something that you seem to have wasted. Because I remember we talked on this show.
Millions of dollars they would have thrown away.
Yeah, when we talked about them scrapping Titan, we were like, oh my God, this has been in the progress for 8 years.
6 years total by that. When we had talked about it
at that time it was 6 years. Yeah.
That they had been working on it, hiring. At one point, they had the majority of Warcraft's dev team ported over to Titan, right? Like, at the time, Warcraft was working on an almost skeleton crew, which gave us some of the worst expansions that they'd ever had. But they were so into Titan that they were stealing their best developers, artists, writers from all of the walks of life of Blizzard to build this mega MMO. And then they just said, nah, it's not. Literally, they said it wasn't fun. They're like, we played the game, we didn't think it was fun, and now we're not doing it anymore. And so for them to like take this time, I would assume this is a very small fraction of what they have.
Oh, it's basically the art and some
probably gameplay elements
and Chris Metzen's story
and the story
to it.
Right.
Yeah, he's like, oh, this guy's this guy's this. So yeah, basically took Chris Metzen's story and the art and shoved it into a shooter.
And the cool part about that whole story is that it does almost confirm what the original rumors were, which was that Titan was a MMO shooter. Yep. And then if you were to extrapolate a little further from that, you can put your conspiracy hat on and then say, at the same time, Blizzard was creating an MMO shooter, and they are currently the same company, ipso facto. Not really the same company, but obviously the powers that be are very connected of what is getting released out of Vivendi and Blizzard and Activision. And so you have Bungie's game, which would have then been released at the same time as this other competitive MMO shooter. Might not have gelled well in terms of sales. And you wonder if that was part of the reason that played into it. But it's cool to see this, and it's even cooler if you think maybe if Overwatch does well, which it looks like it already has, we can see more games come out of the Overwatch universe, because it's also a very cool universe. So, good stuff.
Good stuff. All right, next story.
What's in the Xbox update coming this summer? And this comes directly from Major Nelson. Cortana on Xbox One. Cortana is coming to preview in the US, UK, France, Italy, Germany, and Spain first, and gamers can expect the familiar Cortana experience found on other Windows 10 devices. Cortana voice commands on Xbox One will work with both headsets and Kinect. You'll be able to use Cortana to find great new games, see what your friends are up to, start a party, accomplish common tasks, turn on your Xbox One if you're using Kinect, and more. We'll continue to build Cortana features over time, and our vision is to use Cortana to help elevate your experience as your personal digital assistant for gaming. Just say, hey Cortana, or launch the app to get started. Next is a new game collection. We're updating the game collection interface to make it faster and easier to find and launch the games you're looking for. Now you'll be able to see more of your game collection, quickly access your own ready-to-install tab, and get more information about titles in your queue. Next one, this is Facebook Friend Finder on Xbox One. Facebook Friend Finder, wow, say that 10 times. Facebook Friend Finder is expanding from the Xbox app to Xbox One and is a great way to find and add your Facebook friends on Xbox. As more gamers link their Facebook and Xbox Live accounts, you'll start seeing more suggestions for Facebook friends to add and game with on Xbox Live. And finally, improved sharing on Xbox One. We've made it easier to share your screenshots, game DVR clips, and achievements on Xbox One. Gamers can now share their most epic clips and captures with the community in fewer steps. So what do you guys think? It's usually not as big as the fall updates, but it seems like a pretty decent summer update here.
The Cortana stuff.
The Cortana thing is huge.
That's you can say, hey Cortana, start a party with Joel, Albert, and Electrify, and it knows that Dude I Rock is Joel Albert. It knows that who you are. It starts the party, sends all the invites. Like, that part is pro. The part
the other stuff, like the friend finder, I don't give a shit about. My friends are my friends. If I know that they have an Xbox One, I already know. I don't need Facebook to tell me that.
If you use the Xbox One app on Windows 10 right now, it does the Facebook
does that
thing.
anyway.
Yes, yeah.
For me, the big thing is the parity between the gem that comes out of all this stuff. Whenever what Microsoft's been doing in the last year, really, is the parity between Windows 10 and Xbox One. That's the closer they get, the better it is for us as gamers. And so every time like I see Cortana, I saw some people tweeting like, oh, I really want to say Xbox volume up. Like, that was a big deal to lose the Xbox command over the Cortana command.
No, but you don't. You can still say, hey, Cortana, Xbox volume up. Hey, Cortana, Xbox on.
No, people are just pissed that they
you have to say, hey, Cortana. Yeah.
Right. Which, ironically, Cortana is coming out of the Halo universe, and they're just bringing the gaming thing back into the thing that it should have been in the first place. Yep. And Cortana as a voice recognition, the big thing is, what people don't understand is the technology behind Cortana is far superior to what they already have on the Xbox. Yep. You're getting something that is way more Siri-like than we really have now, which is dumber commands.
Yeah.
So we're getting really intelligent, and it's machine learning. So as you talk, but not just as I talk, as everyone talks into their mics, Cortana gains more knowledge of inflection points, the noise around you,
slang,
your accents, your slang, and can interpolate those things, and you have better and easier commands. So it's a good thing.
Yeah,
and
right.
It's cool.
Right now, all the voice commands occur in the voice processing unit of the Kinect. So that's where all that happens, and the Kinect deals with it, and then your resulting action occurs. With Cortana, it's all done in the cloud, which is why it allows you to use a headset or whatever else. So now you can take that processing out of the Kinect and push it to the cloud, so you can do much more complex things without the Kinect having to be the thing that's figuring it out, which is, I think, a big boon.
It is a big boon. And so what are your thoughts then about the Kinect is now the most useless product? And if you're a Kinect owner, you're in a worse place than you were.
But it's not, because some douchebag without a Kinect has to put on his headset and say Xbox on. I'm sorry, XBOX on, and has to say whatever they're going to say. Whereas I can still walk in the house and say, hey, Cortana, and all my commands, and still have everything happen the same over the Kinect. I sometimes you don't want to have to put on a headset to talk to your Xbox and have it turn on. Like, that's not right.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm back and forth with this. For one, I think it's still, no matter what, devalues the Kinect. No matter what, it's doing a large bit of what you purchased it for in the first place.
If they ever sell a mic that connects to your Xbox directly,
it's over. Yeah.
Then you don't need it.
You don't need it. Right.
If they sell a USB mic that's a omnidirectional mic that you can plug into the USB port, put it in front of your TV, and just talk it, then it's done. Yes. Then.
Yeah, and the one thing I will say about the Kinect, which to your point, which I think is really what makes Kinect so special, is when I use Kinect to do all my voice commands now, it's extremely rare that I'm using it for anything video game related.
Oh, yeah.
It's to turn it on. It's to turn the volume up on my TV. It's when I'm lazily watching Netflix and I don't want to actually pick up a controller, nor do I want to put on a headset because I'm not gaming. So it definitely has a place in your home for that as an entertainment device.
Yeah, I don't use it for
not really gaming.
Anything gaming either. I walk in the door before I get my sandals off. Xbox on, and then Xbox Watch Food Network, and then by the time I'm in the kitchen unloading whatever I got to make dinner, the Food Network's on in the other room. The Xbox, it all just works, and it has nothing to do with gaming. It's all about convenience.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And it's ironic because the one argument I think we've had for years has always been that the Kinect is a failed gaming experiment. It is an amazing UI usability device, and it should always have been built with the idea in mind of making it easier to control UI. And as a gaming thing, it's, again, I don't give it.
It
never made any sense to me.
The games that use it well, but there's just not games that
there's just not a lot of
like you want to play Fantasia, you want to play Dance Central. Those games are awesome. They're enjoyable. The new Kinect is a million times better than the old Kinect, but was it worth it to get that for 2 games?
No.
Probably not.
But is it worth it for me to sit around in my boxers and tell the Xbox what to do?
Certainly.
Yeah.
If I never had any of those games, I would still love it.
Exactly. It's always been my argument. Without the games, still one of the best things I got in my house. And still one of the reasons I always liked it better than a PS4. Yeah. Just because I don't have to press buttons.
Yeah, you don't have to find a controller. You don't have to touch anything. You literally, you can say any channel, Xbox Watch ABC, and it even knows I'm going to tune to his high def ABC, not the other one. And it's just smart. It's easy. It's fun. It's that connected lifestyle type thing. It's the same thing that what's the Amazon's Echo thing does. Alexa. Yeah, it's literally people just want voice commands to do simple things, and Xbox nailed it. Yes, and to work. Yeah, and they nailed it, and now it's gonna be better.
It's gonna be even better. Yes.
So yeah, I can't complain.
Me neither. All
right. Next story.
We are on to this week's What the Fuck story. Perform surgery on Donald Trump in new Surgeon Simulator DLC, and this comes from GameSpot. Surgeon Simulator developer Bossa Studios has announced its latest free DLC, which throws you back into the operating room. This time, however, you have a presidential candidate on the surgery table. You'll perform a heart transplant surgery on Donald Trump with the help of items like Trump vodka, Trump steak, and a makeup kit. The latter is only available to players who sign up to Club Bossa on the developer's website. The DLC, titled Inside Donald Trump, is free to everyone who owns Surgeon Simulator Anniversary Edition. Owners of Surgeon Simulator 2013 can buy the DLC at a temporarily discounted price of just 60 cents. Surgeon Simulator 2013 and Anniversary Edition are both currently discounted on Steam as well. Players will have to choose whether they give Trump a gold heart or a stone heart in their surgeries, and the results will be shown on a live tracker. Currently, stone to heart transplants are ahead by about 200 at the time of publishing. The page also tracks the in-game cost of all surgeries performed on Trump, which currently amounts to over $2 billion. Bossa Studios co-founder Henrique Olifers said that the developer wanted to thank fans with a fun and topical update. He said in a press release that putting Donald Trump in heart surgery seemed the most natural way to do this in a relevant manner, and added that the team can't wait to see how fans vote by way of transplant.
How is this legal?
I don't know. Did
question.
Trump allow this?
There's no way.
This is he first off, his name is mentioned in the DLC title. Second off, it looks like Donald Trump. And if you look at any of the screenshots of this, it's like Donald Trump lying down. The pillow in the hotel room is an American flag that he's lying, or in the hospital room that he's lying on is an American flag, and his chest is split open, and you see all his organs thrown. This almost seems like threatening in a sort of way.
I'm fairly certain they're going to get sued for this. First of all, because Donald Trump sues for everything and anything he possibly can. It's the American way.
They're using his name as likeness.
They're using his name as likeness. It seems like a really open shut case to me. And what's so ironic about the story is the way they're talking about the game. Yeah, we put Donald Trump in. It's pretty funny. Is no one else worried? Are you guys just it's fine?
No, it's fucking
so weird to me.
For those of you watching on YouTube or on the Twitch stream, I'm going to tilt my head here so you can see what's behind me. But there's Donald Trump, and they're pouring Trump vodka in a Trump vodka bottle into his face. It's absolutely insane. And there's other screenshots I could have chosen for the background there that have his chest cavity open, but I figured we'll play it easy here. But
what's even better is that when your face is actually in front of Donald Trump, it's like you're laying there
on the American flag pillow. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't understand how this is remotely legal for them to do, like Jay said, but at the same time, it's also really weird. And I guess they're trying to spin it as an election thing, if you gave him the gold heart, you're a Trump supporter. If you gave him the stone heart, you're not. But I just don't know. This is absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's a really weird thing. I mean, it's funny.
Yeah.
A part of me wouldn't mind checking it out just because I think it's hilarious. And also because I don't think it's gonna be around very long. This is stupid, right? This is
once the cease and desist start flying, this is done, right?
I feel like the conception of this is when it should have stopped. Someone in a room was like, we should do it with Donald Trump. And the other guy turned to him well, we can't because that's kind of illegal.
No, that's
shut it down. And then that was it. That was the end of the conversation.
That's what they were missing is they didn't have the attorney in the room at the time. The guy that should have been all right, guys, listen, this is funny and all, but according to law, we just can't do this, okay?
Do you need a lawyer for this, though? I'm not a lawyer, and I saw this for 2 minutes. It was like, nope, that's no.
But you have a bunch of guys that think it's cool. Like, this is the problem with every idea that guys think is cool where they don't have a lawyer involved. You're like, all right, listen, guys, we're going to go to Vegas and we're going to take a donkey onto the top of the Bellagio. We're going to throw him off. And you're like, yeah. You're like, wait. All right, this is so wrong on so many levels. Like, all right, we need a lawyer for this because I'm pretty sure we can't kill a donkey. And I'm pretty sure we can't even get on the top of the Bellagio. So
again, don't think I need a lawyer for it. I don't know. I mean, you're telling me the story, and I'm like, there's nothing in me that's like, yeah, no, that's fine. I don't see the problem yet. I need someone with a law degree to tell me it's not okay to throw a donkey off of the Bellagio.
Well, this is why lawyers exist, because sometimes in the right circumstance, the ball gets rolling, everybody's playing off each other's emotions, and like common sense goes by the wayside. And I think that's what happened here. And I don't know. This it's cool, but it's also crazy.
I mean, this story has you saying,
what the fuck? And on that, why are we hopping over to the mailbag and voicemails? Altius asks, assuming the Xbox hardware rumors are true, do you think Microsoft will launch the Xbox One Slim during their press conference like they did with the Xbox 360 Slim back in 2010? Now, the selfish side of me says, oh, God, I hope so, because that means Tiff and I will each have one waiting under our seats at the press conference. But I don't think that's going to happen, though.
Oh, muted. Yeah, I mean, my thing with it is just that it's still a little too soon. I mean, I think it's going to happen. Maybe a Slim. I guess I could see a Slim happen.
Yeah, not the super powerful one, but
right,
the
Slim, because that will happen obviously before the super powered Oculus Rift version comes out. So yeah, maybe it's been a long enough period of time. I still think it's a little early to do it, but I could be wrong. So historically, Sony's always been the first to do their Slims. Like they always, for whatever reason, get a Slim out before Xbox does. So it would be nice to see Xbox come out with a Slim before Sony and hopefully attempt to sell even more systems and start to catch up.
And launching it right away at E3 2010 was amazing. Like that's like, oh, by the way, you can go on Amazon right now and order it and it'll be shipped to you starting today. Like that was unheard of in this industry. Once we got to the digital age where every bit of news was instantly out there and shared, like nobody kept a secret like that. And meanwhile, they had like all these big box retailers.
Distribution was ready. Everyone was like ready to go.
Ready, and nobody knew about it. And it was insane. So now we're 6 years past that. And, maybe they can do it again.
And it's weird too with the Slims. I mean, Slims are usually purchased by people that don't yet have an Xbox. So it does a really great thing where it actually increases sales for people that don't have the system yet. It gives them a reason to buy the system. It's not the same old system that their buddies has. They get a one-up on all their friends because they now have the new Slim. So it does create sort of a surge in the games. But it also, for people like Derek and I too, we will usually like to get one just because it's different, right? Like
the new hotness.
It's new hotness. They tend to run cooler. They tend to not break as often. But to be fair, the Xbox Ones that I've had my launch and it's fine, and I have a new one and it's fine.
Yeah, we got tons here and it's fine. We have more than most stores and it's fine.
It's nice, right? Like, but I still think I might even get one and just throw it in. Like,
I'd still get one too.
My bedroom or something. Yeah. So it is, the timing is right around where I think they might do something like this. But I actually think Microsoft is going to have a lot to say about Windows 10 and Xbox One integration. And I wouldn't be surprised if they at least talk about the Slim, whether they announced it or not. Maybe they just talk about it of like maybe next year or the year after. I think you'll hear about hardware because it's been what everyone's been talking about.
Yeah.
So I think you'll see something. I guess I could potentially see the release. I would be surprised, but I could see it.
I definitely don't think I'm getting one free.
No, I don't think
conference. So. No. I think those days are long gone. But yeah. But great question, Altius.
Yeah.
As always. Good job, sir. All right, if any of you have great questions like Altius, give us a call, 773-527-2961, or email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. You can also comment to this episode's thread on the Tool to Play homepage. And sponsors. Remember, by supporting our sponsors, you help support Still Got Game. We got two sponsors. We got ThinkGeek and the Craft Beer Club. ThinkGeek sells all the cool geeky shit you like. Craft Beer Club sells beer of the month subscriptions for craft beers. that delivers them to you or someone else, to your home, their home, wherever, either by the month, by the 6 months, by the year. So if you're going to buy any of these things, if you're going to go to Think Geek and Shop, go to toolplay.com/geek and buy it that way. If you're going to buy a craft beer subscription, go to toolplay.com/beer. You help us out, you help yourself out. So toolplay.com/geek, toolplay.com/beer. And if you want to sponsor us, give us a call, 773-527-2961. Email us, podcast@toolplay.com. You tell us what you're selling, we'll tell you what you're going to pay us. We'll sell it, you pay us, boom, done! Twitter us up. You can find everything Tool to Play related at twitter.com/Tool to Play. Everything podcast related at twitter.com/still_got_game. I, king of the internet, got everything that's fucking holding me at twitter.com/Derek Nolan.
You can find me at twitter.com/DudeIRock.
Tiff is at
Twitter.com/electrify.
And Hitman is at
Twitter.com/I6Hitman. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Letdown.
I was ready this week.
You were, but Hit was not.
No. Come on, Hit.
No.
You got it.
No.
Got the next one.
All right. Facebook the fuck out of us. Facebook.com/Tool to Play. Facebook.com/Derek Nolan.
Facebook.com/I6Hitman.
No, that's not you. That's it. You messed up.
Dude, I rock.
Facebook.com/Tiff Nolan.
What Derek's, what Joel said. Yeah, I6Hitman.
Can't even get my name right. He's like barely at that level.
This is why I don't come on. This is why I don't come on.
Fair point. It's fair point.
All right, we have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tool to Play. That's the place to find all of Tool to Play's archive video content, whether it's episodes of Still Got Game, whether it's old live video streams we do, whether it's our one-off shows, like that time Tiff was going to have an awesome interview show and she only did one episode, whether it's Hits Quick Hits, which, and now Hit is shaking his head, but Hits Quick Hits literally gets a lot of Twitter traffic each week, and people constantly are clamoring to bring it back. And it's not just like back in the old days when I made it up and pretended people wanted to bring it back. People actually want to bring it back, and they're pinging Hit on this. So hopefully Hits Quick Hits will be back, and that will also be on the Tool to Play YouTube channel. So go there, subscribe. You'll be notified whenever new video content shows up. Please rate and review this podcast on iTunes. We need some 5-star reviews, so give us 5 stars and write up a nice little review like, hey, Joel Dudarak Albert beard. His beard is crazy. It's out of control, but his hair is nice and poofy. His bouffant, too, is sweet. Or Derek D. Smooth Nolan. That guy's handsome. His mini man bangs stick like he could probably kill a bird with those things. Like Tiffany Electrified Nolan. She fucking reads the news like nobody's business. That producer Hitman, he produces the fuck out of this show, and then in the after show he shows up and he talks a lot and he's pretty awesome. Like, whatever you want to write, just give us 5 stars and add the cool shit to it, okay? 5 stars, add something nice. We also have a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Tool to Play. That's where all of Tool to Play's live content goes. So go there. You can watch everything live, this show, game streaming, whatever it is. There's a couple buttons down at the bottom here. One says follow. So you're definitely going to fucking do that no matter what. That's like breathing or eating or having sex with your wife or husband, whatever it is. That's the follow button. Now, the other button is subscribe. That's the special bonus. That's like, you're treating yourself to a 30-day steak. You're going to go out and get a nice bottle of wine. Like, just click the subscribe button. If you like what we do here, that's the way to support us directly. It gives us the warm fuzzies, gives you the warm fuzzies. We all feel like we're better off for it. And you know what? It's like a courtesy handy when you're getting a massage. It's whatever it is. But go there, click the subscribe button, and support the show because we appreciate it and you appreciate it. Just like the courtesy handy. Whatever. Just do it up. No one's ever said no to the courtesy handy, okay? That's all I'm saying. All right. Before we wrap up, and I remind you all, you can join us each and every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, twitch.tv/Tool to Play. And on that, why don't we wrap this episode up? I am Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
I am not I6Hitman.
We'll be gone next week, E3, but we'll be back with an epic episode after that.
Yay.